It's an opportunity.
Hello. I have to say, I'm really proud of my fade outs with the music. I feel like a DJ when I do it. Thanks for being here. Hi, Lara. I'm super excited for today because today's the day where we get to make magic happen for you and pull all of these things together. It's so nice to see you. Um, so we're going to apply some of the things that we learned this week to more specific circumstances. And Lara, I think the journey you're on right now would be a perfect one to use for this around thinking about what you want to create from this unexpected journey that you're on. Yeah. If you feel ready to do that. I know with some circumstances it can be really extra challenging to wrap our head around seeing it that way, but I invite you to maybe try it on and see how it feels. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to do a little recap on what we did in the first 3 days. And then I will dive in and I'm going to use my latest creative endeavor as the example, but I want you to all use it as the example, but kind of apply your own creative endeavor to the process. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the process using myself in that, and we'll go from there. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think this is going to be perfect, Lara, for where you're at. Yeah. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. I'm going to share. And what's exciting about today is I'm also going to spend most of the time off of the PowerPoint and just in the Zoom space with y'all. But let's use this for a moment. So day 1, we looked at creativity, what is it, and creative efficiency. So starting to broaden our horizons around what creativity is and looking into what makes us creatively efficient. And my number one takeaway was kind of the epicenter of that process, which is your being. So who we are being, who we perceive ourselves to be, is so instrumental in the results that we get. And the other thing we talked about on Monday was the aspect of security. So there's something that happens once we've created something, especially if we end up creating it multiple times. So for somebody who's well established as a painter, they're going to feel really secure in their ability to do that and move through the process of painting. That's really hard to tap into when we've never done something before. And so what we're trying to do is really build that security more and more over time and really step into the body of the person who feels that now. So really playing with our imagination. We have this superpower as humans to imagine things, and we can even imagine visceral sensations in our body. So that's really what we want to do, is step into the being of the person who has that mastery already. What do they feel? What kind of thinking drives their actions? And that's going to help bring some of the security that they feel into their being while they're on the process of creating it. Day 2, we looked at the idea of creative trust, which was a bit of an extension of what is creativity as well, at least from my perspective. So I really see creativity as this spiritual force inside of us that wants to come out, and that's part of our purpose here as humans, and building this level of trust in that spiritual force. So again, while we create more security in our body, it's like we're opening up the gateway for that spiritual force to be expressed. And we become the tools that that force uses to manifest what it has in mind. Day 3, we looked at creativity mechanics. So that was really about exploring those tools that our spiritual force uses in order to create. So we have the brain and we have the body. And that makes up our nervous system. So our nervous system, the brain and the body, are really essential elements of creativity. And how can we support the mechanics of those two things so that they can unleash the magic that creativity has in mind? So that's where we stand today. And like I said, I really want today to be a process of exploring how we put these concepts into action. So I have 3 kind of activities that I want us to take part in. And I'm going to share my creative journey currently. So I started a podcast like a year ago, and let me just, sorry, I just want to make sure I have something set up properly before I keep going. All right, let's keep going. So yeah, I started a podcast just over a year ago, and this was something I was really excited to do. It was a very difficult journey into creating it, very uncomfortable for me, and I struggled with it. By about January 2022, I decided to put the podcast down, and I have left it alone ever since for the most part. And I would like to revive it and bring it back to life. This is something I really want to step into. And so that is something that I am trying to create. And as you know from this week, the piece about who I am being, who I believe myself to be, how I perceive myself is a vital aspect. And I believe that part of the reason the podcast was so challenging for me to put out there into the world each time I published an episode was not because I can't do it, and not because the steps are actually legitimately hard. I mean, yes, there can be a learning curve, but I believe it's because I hadn't fully tapped into the being of the person who creates it. So that's what I'm working on creating right now. Before I even get into building the episodes, designing the episodes, and figuring out the content, I am first starting with what I believe about myself. And so to start, I want you to think about, what is this creative endeavor that you are wanting to pursue? And like I said yesterday, it can be something external, like a podcast, or it can be something internal, like a visceral feeling, like I want to feel empowered. I want to feel like I have authority over my scenario, right? Again, just to give a different idea of how this can work, for the last year, I've been working with a diabetes coach because diabetes was something I felt completely powerless to. And all of a sudden, I am able to bring my numbers into a different place that I never thought was possible. But the first component that I've been working on is what I believe about myself and what I believe about diabetes. So my perception of the whole thing. Until I was able to shift that, I couldn't access the actions that were necessary to shift the externalized manifestation of that. So this is an exercise I love to do with clients, just to offer some awareness. Is stick figure men, women, people, however you identify. what I want you to do is do a quick download about where you're at now in relation to, we've got another friend, in relation to the creative endeavor you have in mind. So I want you to write down all of the feelings you have currently about it, and we'll go from there. So let's just take a moment. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for coming. I'm so glad to have you here. Amanda, you need to meet Lara because Lara's amazing. And Lara, you need to meet Amanda because Amanda's amazing. Amanda, have you had a chance to look at any of the replays? No, that's totally fine.
I have not. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I just wanted to know so that I knew kind of where you were coming to from this angle. But you're just gonna dive in and like explore this with a brand new view. So right now we're looking at, or we're thinking about what it is that we want to create in our lives right now. And we're thinking about, sorry, I have to gather my thoughts. What are we wanting to create? And we're going through the exercise of, you can draw 2 stick people. And then we're downloading the thoughts and feelings we have right now about that being, about ourselves and the creative endeavor we're on. Sorry, I'm a bit scattered, but I'll sort myself out. So I'm feeling like this is hard, and I'm looking at it and demonstrating it from my perspective. So I'm wanting to create a podcast and show up regularly for it. Yeah. And this is my creative endeavor that I'm working on. So currently I feel like this is hard. What else do I think? I kind of failed at it already. And we're really practicing non-judgment and just letting the thoughts be what they are. So taking a real honest look at things. I don't want to fail. I really want to do this. Feelings that I have are fear. What if? Anxiety. That probably paints a pretty clear vision. There's probably a lot more thoughts in my brain around this, but I feel like that's what's clearly there right now. So to recap, currently what I think about my ability to create a podcast and show up regularly for it are, I'm worried, what if I can't follow through? I'm thinking this is hard. I think I kind of already failed at it. I don't want to fail. I really want to do this. Amanda's mighty impressed that I can teach and write with such beautiful handwriting. I always wanted to be a teacher, and every time I had a chance to write on the board, it was like a very exciting moment for me as a kid. So I feel like that's part of what you're seeing right now. Some of the feelings that I'm having are fear. I feel worried. I feel anxious about it. I feel excited. I think also, I'm going to add determined because I feel determined about it too. I'm not quite as committed. I'm not quite to commitment level yet, but I feel pretty determined. So that's that. We have a bit of an audit on where we're at now. And Amanda, just to give you some insight into what we've been talking about, the theory that I have on creativity and turning something from an idea in our brain to a real thing in real life, either externally or inside of us, is our level of security in that. So if we have a scale of security from insecure to secure, what we want to do is start to walk ourselves closer and closer to security. And the closer we get, the higher the chance that that thing's going to manifest because we've manifested it. That's that idea. So we have an assessment of where we're at now. Now I want you to imagine the person who's on the other side of this. I want you to imagine the person who has created that reality that you're wanting. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. And think about what that person is thinking. They have that result. For me, I'm thinking about myself. I have a podcast. I love it. I show up to it regularly. It is my baby. So think about yours and think too about how do you feel? You're on the other side of this. It's now just a reality of your life. It's a normal part of your life. That powerful word we talked about yesterday, normal. It's normal for you to feel this way about yourself. What are the feelings that you can tap into? Notice those. And let's write them down. Whatever thoughts came to mind, whatever feelings came to mind, write them down. This is actually, I haven't done this with myself yet. This is actually really powerful for me too. What else do I feel? Okay. give you another minute or so to explore that and to feel into it. And if you feel comfortable sharing sort of the dichotomy of those two, so sharing who your current self is, sharing what it is that you're wanting to create, and sharing your future self, what you noticed when you stepped into that body and that being, then I invite you to put it into the chat. For me, I already shared with you my current self. You know what I'm in the process of creating. So when I stepped into myself as a podcaster, I felt confident and calm. I felt really proud of myself and what I was in the process of creating. I felt joyful. The thoughts I had about it was, this is my baby. I love my podcast and I love podcasting. My content flows effortlessly from me. This is just a part of my job and what I produce for the world. So those were some of the insights that I gained. And if you're not comfortable sharing, know that that's perfectly fine too. Laura shares that her current self has fear, worry, feels shaky, fatigue, and apathy. And when she stepped into her future self, she noticed that her breath would flow easily in her body. She feels powerful and she feels playful. I love that. That's really powerful. Amanda, I notice a trepidatious, tentative, but willingness to step into my next creation. Yeah, it's like the anticipation. It's exciting to consider what's on the other side. I feel like I'm being good to myself. All versions. Awesome. The current me doing this scary hard work, and the past me who's overcome so much to do this, and the future me who's going to take it to the next level. I am moving from stress and anxiety and determination into confidence, being astounded, and feeling magical, capable, and celebratory. Ah! I love that. And I love that you added your past self too. Like it's just, we can start to see these different like landmarks of self that show up on our journey, and it's so cool. Awesome. Okay, so what I want you to remember from this exercise is that it's not fair of us to think that we can just have an idea and put it out into the world. Like that's just so much pressure on your nervous system, on your brain and your body. And so what we want to do is that the job for us is not to force our dream into reality. It's not to force ourselves to do it right now. Our job is to step into the being of that person, connect with that future part of ourselves, and start to build the kind of security that allows us to naturally move towards that being. Like when we notice the difference in what we feel, when I notice a difference in what I feel, being determined, but fearful and anxious and worried and doubting myself, like that's a scary place to be. How comforting is it to remind myself, I have confidence inside me. I can feel calm and proud and joyful. And what I've noticed in doing this type of exercise is that often I'm wanting to create excitement for the things I haven't created yet. but that's because I'm coming from a place of fear. Like that thing seems large and scary to do it. So I'm like trying to drive the momentum with excitement. But what actually supports me more is tapping into calmness. I noticed this week, because this week has been a bit of a stretch goal for me. And I noticed day one, I went into that excitement, like buzzy energy of like, oh, I'm doing this thing. And that's going to happen too. And then I remembered, oh yeah, like I want to step into the being who's like so confident and certain about what she's doing and knows it's not about her, it's about the people she's serving. She feels so calm about this. Like she's confident in her teaching abilities. She feels so calm. And when I was able to remember that, I could actually tap into it. And I felt way more present the last 3 days and way more connected with the people that I was here with, you guys. I'm noticing right now it's 9:30 and I did have like an ambitious load of exercises. I have 2 more exercises. They'll probably take us another 5 to 10 minutes to go through. Are you 2 okay to stay for that? Yeah, Amanda's a yes. Laura, if you have to get going, then no worries. Feel free to leave whenever you need to. The replays will be there. Are you going surfing today? Lara surfs in Ontario, Amanda. It is fucking cool. Oh, that's so awesome. Okay, so the second piece of our journey today is what I call the Feel Your Failure Feelings plan. Try to say that 5 times fast. The Feel Your Feelings Failure, wait, the Feel Your Failure Feelings plan. So I've developed this exercise so that we can support our nervous system, the creativity mechanics that we talked about. In those moments when we hit the river of misery, because as we talked about on day 2, we are going to hit the river of misery. Yeah, that's right. And so it's so useful for us to think about this. Yesterday, I hit the river of misery first thing in the morning when I woke up. And I had shit I wanted to do. I had things to prep for our day 3, and my brain was not letting me access its potential. And so I had to drop into my failure feelings plan, which for me consists of lying on the floor, usually with a bolster under my mid back and with my arms outstretched. It's kind of this moment of surrender for me. It was so powerful. What was really like kind of magical and mystical about it yesterday too was there was a wicked storm happening outside. Like literally the trees sounded like they were gonna just like fall over onto my house. It was raining. It was what it was doing outside was what it was doing inside of me. And I just lay there and I compassionately welcomed all the feelings. And I spoke to myself with love and care. And I told myself, we can stay here as long as you need to. If it means we cancel today, then we cancel today. And in 5 minutes, it shifted. And it shifted outside too. It was a very interesting moment. But all of a sudden, and the shift was so palpable in my body, I literally felt all of the negative, tumultuous feelings I had, all of the horrendous, horrible thoughts I was having, they just disappeared. And I sat up. It's the most profound feelings moment I have ever experienced in my life. I will never forget it. And all of a sudden, I was like, okay, I can get to work now. 5 minutes. So I want you to think about what is your failure feelings plan going to be when the storm hits. When you feel like you can't do it, when you feel like it's not possible for you, that you're always going to feel terrible and you're never going to have what you want, what are you going to do in that moment for yourself? And the third tactic that I'm going to share, or strategy, relates to, we talked about it at the very end of yesterday, and it was this powerful idea of normalizing a small step. So when you think about something that will help you get towards what you want to create. So for me, with my podcasting self, my first step, and I like to start super small. My first step is just to have time in my calendar to sit down and think about podcasting. So it's not even that I'm expecting myself to output anything in particular. I just want to start creating that sacred time for this goal. And we want to make this a normal part of our day, both like in the day, in the structure of the day or the week, however you want to structure it, or the month, but also in your mind. So thinking of it like, oh, on Friday at 2 p.m., that's my normal time to podcast, to show up to this goal of mine. Again, this is such a powerful thing to do because our mind wants to put our goal on a pedestal. We're going to take it off the pedestal and just make it normal. This is just a normal part of my day. It's nothing special. It's not crazy. It's just normal. If you are working on an internal goal of trying to feel a certain way about something, then your step might be every day for 5 minutes, I want to sit and connect to what I want to experience around this particular circumstance. So I want to connect to my bravery, or I want to connect to my breath and let it flow easily, or I want to connect to my playfulness. That might be the step that you normalize as a part of your day. All right. We made it, and your surfer friend didn't interrupt the process, Laura. That's perfect. Amanda says that she thinks she's a surfer trapped in a landlubber's body. I love the word landlubber. Okay, this might go down as my favorite day yet in our 5-day series. I again want to thank you both for showing up and being here with me. I wasn't sure if that would happen. And so again, I was prepared to do this all on my own, but it's been so much better with you two here. Yay! All right, well, I shall let you get on with creating your day, but thank you again for coming. Tomorrow is our 5th and final day of the mini course, and I have opened it up for just connection and Q&A. So I'd love to see you here. Whoever can come, if you're watching the replay, please come if you're watching it in real time. And yeah, thanks for everything. All right. Mwah. Take care.